Helly,
Yes.
do you know the next place I want to move?
Where?
An urn. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The next place I want to move is an urn. This is CJ Haddock. This is the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast. Hi, honey.
Hi.
Show producer H2 Helen Haddock here with us this week, as always, because nobody would listen otherwise. Isn't that right, honey?
No, that's not true. People love you.
Yeah. On today's episode, what do we got, Helen?
I think we should talk about our kids.
Oh, Jesus, no. Memorial Day. We're moving. It's a miserable existence being between houses.
Yes, it is.
This is the last broadcast from our former Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast studios. Go ahead, Ellen, say something.
Well, I think we should also realize that today being Memorial Day is also National Burger Day. So let's talk about some burgers.
National Burger Day. That's good.
National Burger Day.
That's not miserable. We're going to talk about India because that's a fun place to go and visit.
Ew.
We're going to talk about... we will talk a little bit about kids in general.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the electric slide, if I remember, to bring that up.
It's electric.
And some other weird shit. Stay tuned.
Hold on tight.
This is just an excuse for us not to pack boxes right now. The Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast is directly ahead. What a vision of loveliness now. I can now see you through the monitors, between the monitors.
Right, there's like a crack in between the monitors.
I thought I need you to move a bit, just a tiny bit to your right.
But then you'll yell at me that I'm not in front of the microphone.
Move the microphone with you.
Well, then you'll yell at me that it makes noise on air.
Pull it back toward you.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
There you go. Now I can see the vision of loveliness between the...
It's a crack. It's a ray of light
between the monitors.
Two dark monitors.
And I'm going to have to set all this shit up in another week's time at some other place that we're moving to.
Yeah, well, it's going to be nice. We have a pretty decent studio on the new gig.
I guess so. Guys and girls, send us an email at painangercomedy@gmail.com. I forgot all of the information up front, which is terrible and unprofessional.
Well, people probably skip right through that, so.
They probably do, but I got to do it anyway.
Right. You fast forwarding.
Subscribe to us on iTunes. Rate us. Give us a review. We're available on SoundCloud at Pain Anger Comedy, at Twitter at Pain Anger Comedy. What's so funny?
Are you like screwing up here? You're like
no, they're the same thing. You can get episodes directly at painangercomedy.libsyn.com and our website painangercomedy.wordpress.com. Yeah, that was rough this week because I'm tired. Because you know what I've been doing? I've been packing boxes for the last 4 days.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about it because you've packed the garage, you've packed your office, and you've packed a little bit of the storage room. I've packed every other room pretty much in this house.
Have you been in the goddamn garage, Helen?
Have you been in the rest of the house? Have you seen the purging that has occurred?
Let's not compare who's worked harder because
right,
we all know I have worked harder than you.
Right. Even if you packed one thing, you'd come to me and say, honey, today I packed this monumental...
I've been packing shit for 4 days.
Well, isn't it time for you to be grumbly?
We're now in the moving stress period, and take your phone down. Take off your phone.
Take off my phone?
Take that phone off.
Yeah, where am I supposed to put
What are you doing?
I'm taking pictures.
Well, if you're going to take pictures, then take one of me.
I did take one of you.
Take a better one.
Yeah.
Happy Memorial Day. Thanks to those men and women who currently serve our country and who formerly served our country to make this podcast and the freedom of speech possible in the greater North America area. Thank you.
Just in the greater North America area?
Including my old man who served in the United States Navy back in the day. During the Bay of Pigs.
My favorite person, Rusty.
Hello, Pops. Happy Memorial Day to you. Mm-hmm. And thanks again to service women, men and women all over the place.
I was just reading a story about a woman, a 98-year-old woman, who has written over 7,000 letters in the course of her lifetime to troops serving abroad, which is really nice.
I saw that, Helen. You know what I thought about that story?
What?
It was boring. And you know what else? You didn't really spice it up that much. Memorial Day, Helen, is the
Overeating day.
Prettier sister of Labor Day. Those are the bookends of summer, you see. And it's an arbitrary point on the calendar. And the calendar itself is an arbitrary thing applied to the space-time continuum.
Oh, crap. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in one of those
and
moods.
It's just a label. Memorial Day and any other day is just a label.
Right.
Time and space are interwoven. Cookouts, as Helen said, it's National Burger Day.
It is.
And you know what we're doing? Packing boxes.
Yes.
Looking for refrigerators.
Yes.
And
picking up our dog from the vet.
Picking up the dog from the vet. Happy Memorial Day.
So you won't hear Comet's big bark in the background like you normally do.
No. So that's Memorial Day.
We could cook out, except I'd have to stand outside with an umbrella.
Yeah, the weather is cold and rainy here, much like my mood.
Which never changes.
That's true. Unlike the weather, it never changes.
Right.
So, Helen, listen, even now, as I look around the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast studio, I just see boxes and disarray. I see disarray, Helen.
Well, this whole process of moving is stressful. And, sometimes you reach a point where you just kind of like, it comes to a head and you kind of lose it. And I feel like yesterday was I've been really calm this whole time, but yesterday was sort of my day to lose it. Long of the short, kids 2 days in a row didn't do something I had asked them to do. And second day, I opened the refrigerator and saw the containers back in the refrigerator. And this is a chat that I've had with them before. When you take something out to clean the refrigerator, you put it on the counter. The counter means at night, please throw it away and wash the containers. Well, I opened the refrigerator. I was a little stressed because I was on call at work as well. Literally have not been so angry in such a long time. Thank God we have plastic Tupperware containers instead of the glass Pyrex containers, because any parent would relate. Like, it just boiled over. I grabbed those containers, I threw them in the sink, and anybody who knows me knows that, like, I might talk a good game, but it takes a lot to make me that angry.
Yes, and I got yelled at. I was screamed at.
Oh yes, you had the Greek fire unleashed.
And I didn't do anything with the goddamn Tupperware.
Oh,
Helen.
My God, I was so angry that, like, I screamed at you after I took 5 minutes to cool down.
I wasn't listening very closely. Did you explain the part about how you put the Tupperware out on the counter for the kids?
Yes, I did. Thank you for not paying attention.
So the little bastards, bastard number one, Friday night, decided he wasn't going to do it. So he puts the Tupperware back in the fridge. Beautiful move, except it would require Helen to have forgotten that she pulled the Tupperware out of the refrigerator.
Right, which anybody who knows that one of my pet peeves in life is a dirty refrigerator. So I'm constantly kind of staying on top of that. So child number one,
Bastard number one.
Went to child number one and said, hey, what did you do? That's wrong. Don't do that again. Done.
Bastard number two.
Pulled it back out, pulled all the stuff out, left it on the counter.
The following day, didn't want to do it because bastard number one didn't do it the previous day. So she too slipped the Tupperware back into the refrigerator.
But that was after she came to you complaining of the first one.
Yeah, so it is. And I told her, I said, I don't care about bastard number one, what he did or what he allegedly didn't do. You, bastard number two, put it in.
Literally, it was like someone lit my switch when I saw those containers.
Get rid of it.
I haven't been that angry in a long time.
And so a week's worth of, months worth of moving anxiety, mortgages, closings, walkthroughs, all culminated yesterday in a Vesuvius of Tupperware rants and raves.
It's funny because my older brother posted a picture on Facebook the one day about Mount St. Helens and, about how it erupted. And it was like, oh, I know, you can't get my sister mad. Well, yesterday, was probably, Mount St. Helens probably felt a jarring. The people that live around Mount St. Helens might have felt a jarring because I was livid.
Not good. It was not good. But fortunately, though, Helen, last night we had a nice laugh over it, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And you went back and which is surprising because you normally do not go back. And I got called into work. I had to go. And you were here at the house with the kids. And you never, ever, ever do this kind of thing.
I came home and I collected them and I brought them into the kitchen. And I said, sons of bitches, the Tupperware got me screamed at today by your mother. Now, I'm angry. She tore me a new ass something, and now I'm going to tear one in each of you. Listen here.
It rolls downhill, kids.
I told child number 1, you're the genesis of this problem. You put the Tupperware in the first day. I told kid number 2, and you continued the problem, and specifically, I told you to put the goddamn Tupperware to get rid of the old food, and you put it back in the fridge too. And then I began to hand out Tupperware containers full of food which needed to be thrown out. One to one kid, one to another kid. And as I handed it out, I slammed the Tupperware down because I too am under stress from this move. And I didn't let either of them utter a single word.
Which is rare because you normally try to let them lawyer themselves out of situations.
I do listen once in a while. This time I was so... I had singe marks in my hair from the screaming right into me about this Tupperware. So I was going to pass that on.
I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I have to be pushed so far in order to do this. And just the fact that 2 days in a row it was in the refrigerator was like, oh, if I could have flung those Tupperwares across the room, I probably would have.
So, Helen, I have a note here, and we might as well get to it right now because it ties right in. Is the problem of millennials. You know, we haven't bitched about millennials on the show in a long time.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
Go. Yes.
Last week, I think, you called millennials, you called children soulless, I think.
Yes.
Was the word you used, soulless.
Yes.
And you know the problem. Here's the problem. Kids these days, I sound like an old guy on a porch. Kids these days have lost the ability to understand the relationship between present effort and future reward.
That's because kids are rewarded instantly.
Amen.
There is so much instant gratification that they don't know how to wait for something.
Amen. Like taking a 3-year-old, for example, to Disney World land.
Or, you know, here's a very stupid and simple analogy. When I was growing up, maybe not for me, but even the generation before me, when you wanted something, when you wanted information on something, you had to go to the library and open an encyclopedia. And I don't even know what encyclopedias are nowadays, but you had to open an encyclopedia and you had to smell that funky book smell.
Do they make encyclopedias still, honey?
I think so.
Oh.
You had to Dewey Decimal System it all up. Now you type in 3 words on a computer and poof, you have your information.
Did you say poof or poop?
I was reading about some parents who had tweeted funny things about their children. And some of them are, someone said, no one is full of more false hope than a parent with a new chore chart.
That's beautiful.
Or another one says, sees burglar hiding in the closet. Me, hey, mind if I hide here with you? I'm trying to get away from my kids.
Amen. Amen to that. This problem, I don't even know if it's fixable. I don't know if you can fix it because they've lost the ability to see if I do this work today, I'll get this reward tomorrow. They prefer the reward up front and then they'll defer the work.
Yeah.
Accelerate the reward, defer the work.
Right. It's always that way. I mean, it's easier to, to go ahead and have that instant gratification, but it's, they don't understand sort of that connection, and which is why a lot of kids nowadays don't have that drive, that ambition to kind of like pick yourself up and do something with you. And
this is the age of doom for type A parents because they all have type D children.
No, it's the age of Ativan for type A parents because, we're the ones that get our uppers, the goers, and our kids are like, well, I'll just do it. It's a perfect example is I told one of the kids the other day, like, oh, make sure all you have to do is pack your room. Make sure you get this done. Oh, well, I have all weekend. I have tomorrow and I have everything.
Yes.
And now it's tomorrow. It's Memorial Day, and said kid is working. So with
all
less than a week to
world.
pack, you decided to blow off the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend of mine at work, and he's of the age to be considered a millennial, and he was like, "Well, I don't know why you guys are complaining about us. You made us this way."
Yeah, well, that might be true. There might be truth to that.
There is truth to that because
It's
we
our own
tried to
fault.
make our children have a more comfortable life than we did, but. God darn it. It's just like, you just want to go out and, wring their little necks. Like,
Here's, and that's enough said on that, I think, Helen. Mm-hmm. Here's why the next place I want to move is an urn. I spent a lifetime reading books and collecting books. those books have to be packed. They're packed into boxes, and the boxes are heavy, and the boxes must be stacked for when the movers get here. You know, books, I always thought books impress chicks, Helen. Do they impress chicks? Do you like my library of many books?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily the books that impress chicks. It's being able to have a great conversation.
Oh, okay, well. Anyway, I like to show off the books.
Do you like big books and you cannot lie?
I like to show off the books. But then I realized now that I had to pack them up, and that's a pain in the ass.
Well, I mean, we're lucky we have movers, but, packing, yes, is annoying. But imagine if you had to actually haul them. I guarantee you'd be going to usebookstore.com and selling all of these bad boys away.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
What?
one
What's
of life's
funny?
many ironies, the older you get, the more books you accumulate, but the less able you are to carry those books when you pack them into boxes.
Right. And the more time you have to read them because you are
Yeah, the next place they go, whoever book boxes them up, at that point, it's their problem. It's not mine.
Yeah, well.
And Helen, let me
dear.
get philosophical with you for a moment.
Oh, boy, here we go.
It must be that the move has brought out the philosopher theologian in me.
Uh-huh.
You know, boxing at some point, Helen, will require a commensurate unboxing.
I would hope so. I don't want to live out of a box forever.
That which we reap, we must also sow.
Yes, dear.
It is the yin and yang of moving, Helen.
Okay.
A box gets packed, it gets moved, and it is unpacked. That's something I just thought about the other day as I was taping up yet another box, Helen.
Well, it's taking your things and placing them sort of in a new environment, so your things get kind of a new life again.
Yeah, a new life. That's great.
That's great.
One of the many other things that's fun about moving is all these customer service telephone calls I have to make.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mr. Haddock.
I talked away from the microphone. I talked to a bank customer service representative on the phone.
Okay.
Can I ask you something, Helen?
Yes, dear.
Why do they always ask you what your account number is? Do you know your account number?
No, I never do.
As you sit there on the phone?
No.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
I'd be shocked if somebody knew what their account number was, and yet they ask that first question all the time.
Yes.
Do you know
what
then
your account number is?
You say invariably, no, I don't. And then they say, almost in kind of a snooty way, well, it's your social security number. As if we're supposed to remember the bank account number.
Yeah, I'd like to know if when they called a customer service person, if they had their account number.
Who knows that shit?
Right.
Why don't they start with the social security number or the date of birth, Helen?
Well, it's the social security number. It's the date of birth. It's your house address. It's your blood type. It's when the last time you had sex. It's just all of these wonderful things that they ask you.
No, nobody's ever asked me on the phone when the last time it was I had sex.
Yeah, it's, what's your blood type?
Or is that are you exaggerating for effect there?
I'm exaggerating a little for effect
That
there.
was beautiful.
Thank you.
Until
you ruined it.
Helen, I know you've always wanted to go to India.
I'm sorry, but it's a wonderful culture.
Here's something the India Chamber of Commerce is not going to be happy about. They've reported in India the first 3 cases of Zika virus.
Oh, boy.
According to the Washington Post. So there's another reason to visit India.
Yeah, there are a lot of places in this globe, and I don't know that India was the top of my list.
I don't mean my Indian friends, I love you. I embrace you. If I could say I love you in Indian, I would say it. Mm-hmm. But, the tourism industry in India is not good to begin with. I don't think the Zika virus arriving is going to help.
I think people don't go to India necessarily to lay on a beach, but I think that people go to India for sort of spiritual clarity. It's a very sort of spiritual kind of regenerative process.
All right. Well, all right. If you're going to do that now,
now you crushed everybody's freaking hopes about going to India.
No, go to India. Have fun. Just watch out for the mosquitoes. Anybody who wants to dispute India or talk about what's great about India, send us an email at painangercomedy@gmail.com.
You can address that straight to CJ.
I've used my name.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you do.
All the time. It's been a while since I played that bumper music. That's some good stuff right there.
Thanks for blowing out my eardrums.
Lift. You know about it. Lyft. It's the app that gets you a ride in minutes on demand 24/7 for less than the cost of a cab. With Lyft, you just download the app, request a driver, and they show up. 3.5 minutes on average. Every Lyft driver is fully vetted through their 10-point safety standard, including criminal and DMV background checks and hopefully a Zika virus. You know you'll get around quickly and safely with Lyft. Lyfts are rated after every ride, so only the best are going to stick around. You don't have to worry about getting into a car not knowing the type of driver. With Lyft, you can tip in the app, which leads to happier drivers, of course, because a tip driver is a happy driver. 9 out of 10 Lyft rides get a perfect 5-star rating from passengers. It's a better all-around experience. Now listen up. Bigger is not always better, Helen.
So says you.
Although sometimes it is. Lyft is not Lyft is not the biggest ride-sharing app, but it is the fastest-growing and highest-rated one. Thanks to Lyft, you have an easy way to avoid drunk driving, and you never have to worry about parking. People are actually getting rid of their cars, Helen, and their wives. They're getting rid of their wives and children.
And their happy wives and children.
And relying only on Lyft to get around. Right now, Lyft is offering a special deal. I hope it involves getting rid of a wife or children. Get 3 free rides. Up to $10 each in value. That's $30.
Look, you can get rid of your wife and 2 children.
Yeah, give them all a lift.
Yes.
Download the free Lyft app today. Lyft, the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast, continues here during the week of the big move. What's up over there, honey? What are you doing?
I'm just looking. Today is a big day. Today is Memorial Day, yes, but it is also Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh, that's right. Isn't that something? I forgot to mention that about your Penguins.
Oh, you forgot.
You know what, Helen?
Yes, dear.
This isn't going to be much of a series.
Don't start with your garbage again.
Let me try to jinx you yet again. Now, I've tried to jinx you for how many playoff series? How many series do you have to win to get to the Stanley Cup?
You have to win 4 series.
All right. So, going back to last year.
You tried to jinx me 16 games this year.
Going back to last year.
Which is 32 games.
Going back to last year.
How I haven't dropped your ass like a hot potato is beyond me.
8 series I've tried to jinx, Helen.
Yeah.
And the Penguins. And let me just say, Helen, I think it's going to be the Penguins in 4 games. It's going to be a sweep.
I really think you should watch yourself before you end up sleeping on a couch somewhere. And when I do say somewhere, I mean somewhere, considering we're moving and we don't know where our couches are. So
this Stanley Cup final is over, honey.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Your boys are going to just win 4 straight. Mm-hmm. So
good
luck to the Penguins.
Is I was looking just now about what the odds were. Las Vegas odds makers at the beginning of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Honey, that's actually an interesting bit of information.
I know, right? So the Penguins were 8-1 favorites to win the cup.
All right.
And Nashville, the Predators, who were the 16th seed, were 25-1 odds to make it.
Is this the beginning of the year, you mean?
At the beginning of the finals.
Oh, at the beginning of the finals. Okay.
Or not the finals, at the beginning of the playoffs themselves.
All right. Okay.
So
they were 8-1. I wonder what the Penguins are now.
I didn't look to see what they are right now.
You know what? I'm going to look to see.
Well,
as we're talking.
You know, Nashville has a huge following. Huge.
Through the beauty of technology.
It's going to be a heck of a series.
All right. Well, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Pittsburgh. I told you they're going to win. They're 16-7 in their last 23 postseason home games. The Penguins will try to take advantage of their home ice Monday, blah, blah, blah.
We talked about this earlier that, home ice isn't always an advantage.
No, that's right.
However, at the PPG Paints Arena, or the Can as it's called, the Penguins fans, which I've been part of many times and wish I could go now, are super loud.
Tonight's game 1,
yes.
The Penguins are a -165 on the money line, which means they're a slight to moderate favorite.
I think everybody's just kind of playing it by ear.
They don't know. That's on home ice, too.
The thing about playoffs is that there is sort of the intangible factor of momentum.
Yeah.
So, Patrick Hornquist is going to be back tonight for the Penguins. Woohoo!
This is all just so boring. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a 5-8 odds winner to win the Stanley Cup. That means
I never understand what that means.
Well, that means when the number inverts like that, it means like that's almost a certainty. And I agree. It's almost a certainty. This thing's over.
Listen, after Game 7 and the heart attack that I had, it going to double overtime, it's really... I'm normally pretty loud when I watch Penguins games, and I was so nervous. Not to mention I'd been up for almost 24 hours before that, but I was so nervous watching that game that I think it took 10 years off my life.
And it says Nashville here 7-5, which is close. I'm not sure if those odds are supposed to correlate or anything. But anyway, if you were to place a bet on the Penguins winning, you'd have to put up $8 to win 5.
That's kind of nuts.
$160 to win 100.
Well, why would you bet then?
Well,
That's
Helen,
dumb.
Why would you bet it? 2 words. Sid Crosby. This series is over.
I'm sure you're trying to jinx my boy, but back off.
I think Crosby's going to have
I'm dusting you off like the hater on my shoulder.
He's probably going to have 2 or 3 goals tonight alone. Quite honestly, I'm just so sick of watching the Penguins win. It's just so boring.
You know what? You can't see it. You cannot see. I really would like to videotape you and show you how much of a nasty hater you are sometimes.
Can we move on?
You know what? We can move on because I'm tired of your grumpiness.
Well, that's not going to change anytime soon because the next thing we're going to talk about are banks and mortgages.
Oh, my God. Listen, what kind of podcast? Are you trying to put these people to sleep today?
Well, I'm not. I'm trying to broadcast my outrage over these modern institutions. The demand for paperwork to get a mortgage in this day and age is insane and, dare I say, foolish and stupid. I had to provide such documentation. It's probably easier to get into the CIA than it is to get a mortgage.
Right.
And everybody's getting paid, by the way. The real estate broker, the mortgage guy, inspectors, contractors, everybody's getting paid. Guess who's not getting paid, Helen?
Guess who's forking out money?
Big Papa.
Oh, here we go.
Big Papa is the only guy spending. Everybody else is getting. And already. Anyway, mortgages. That's a dull subject. The most important parts of the move, Helen, as we continue to discuss the move, to me, are the cable television and internet.
Of course.
Do you know why, Helen? Because without those things, what have we? Nothing. We'd have to talk to each other, Helen.
I saw a sign in front of a cafe the other day. It said, pretend it's 1995 and talk to each other. Yeah.
And nothing else matters to me. If I can get the TVs squared away and the internet, now I'll tell you, moving TVs and getting cable people to show up on time, that's a Rubik's Cube of challenge.
No, what is challenging is when I go to buy appliances, I kind of look ahead of time. I decide what it is that I want. Uh-huh. I look at the features. So I kind of have a general idea of what I want in my head.
Are you talking about shopping for TVs now?
Yes.
Because I was just talking about no, that's part of it. Go ahead. You're right.
So walking into Best Buy with you, not knowing what you wanted, and we're standing around there looking like idiots, and you're just like, oh, we're just going to look. And then all of a sudden, you never just look. You want to buy. And you couldn't wait for Memorial Day sales. So we're in there looking around, looking at these TVs. I felt like an idiot. I don't know. There's HD TV. There's 4HK TV. There's UHD. I don't know. That stuff is like speaking Chinese to me. Yeah. So then this lady who said she was an LG expert comes over, and I'm thinking, honey, what are you an expert in? Mm-hmm. We asked her questions. She had no idea.
Well, honey, anybody can call themselves an expert.
Yeah, and it was just like a comedy of errors. And so we then bought the TVs, the one which I looked at first and was like, okay, because you have a problem with making a decision.
That's funny. We did buy the first TV we looked at.
Exactly, because you have a problem making a decision, so you need someone to say, hey, this is the TV that we should buy.
Helen, I need someone to say a lot of things to me. I'm like a 50-year-old infant in a lot of ways.
Because then you go back and you're like, oh, but this one is, but that one is but no, exactly. At some point, someone needs to drop the gauntlet and say, listen, this is what you're getting.
What was that noise I made? Someone's gone. Okay, I don't recall. I don't recall making that noise, Helen.
Trust me, I hear it. It echoes in my brain.
Coming up later in the show, our last Greek segment before moving studios. That should be a hoot.
Right.
We're going to have some fun with Helen.
We should talk about how the guy who sold us the second TV, who was we had to get the floor model.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jesus Christ.
So he's like, oh, well, this kid looked like he was maybe 11 years old.
I think he was 6.
Maybe his mom still held his hand crossing the street. I don't know.
I think he was about 6.
But he was Mr. Geek Squad. And so he's like, oh, we'll sell you this one on the wall. We ask him ahead of time, oh, does it have the remote with it? Is there anything wrong with it? Yeah, everything's great. We'll double and triple bubble wrap it for you because we ain't got a box for it. Okay, wonderful. Takes forever to get the stupid thing down. He's got his little buddies coming over who they themselves look like they were 12, talking about how great it was to get this TV. Wonderful. Boxes it all up, gets it there. We pay for the damn thing. Then all of a sudden, CJ says something like, oh, yeah, it does really have the remote with it, right? And he was like, there's no remote. And I'm really sorry. So he goes back. This kid, I'm sure he's sweating at this point. And he's, calling his manager on the little headsets and everything else. And then he comes back holding this universal remote and says, I'm really sorry, but the cheapest one we have here is $14.99. Wait a second. You sold me a TV with a remote. And now you want me to buy a remote?
Man alive, you're really off on a freaking
tangent.
Helen,
podcast.
let's reward the boys and girls out there of the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast audience for listening to us with another bathroom story. Do you think it's time for a good bathroom story, Helen?
I'm a little scared about what you're going to say.
No, don't be scared, Helen. Don't be scared. But in exchange for having to listen about mortgages and bankers,
we get to talk about poop.
Another Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast bathroom story. Helen and I were out to dinner this week, and we enjoy that company together. We enjoy being without our children. We relish the time without the sons of bitches. I love you kids. And, sometimes nature will call, or an urge will materialize.
Especially if you're old like you, and then you can't hold those urges in.
And so, an urge materialized, and...
Oh, my gosh.
And so then it becomes a challenge to complete your dinner and get home.
It's a race against time for you.
It is a race against time, and we've talked about this before. The
clock starts ticking, the contractions start hitting, and you just,
The closer you get to home, the more acute the need to be home is.
Right.
I don't know why that is, but I actually looked that up on the internet. It's called something like urgency syndrome or something like that.
Well, your body knows. Mentally, it might be something that's sort of unconscious, and your body's like... Your man's like, hey, we're almost home, and your urge factor goes up exponentially.
At any rate, the urge is increasing, and the server comes up and says, will there be any dessert or coffee this evening? So before this server finishes the word coffee, I've screamed no and given him my credit card without even seeing the check. I don't care at this point. There's no price.
Sign it for yourself.
There is no price you can put on getting home to finish your business.
You're very much a home game person.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yes, I am. I said that last week during the airline bathroom story. I'm confident, Helen, that's probably it on our bathroom stories for the year, although who knows
with you? Going to the bathroom is like a saga.
Hey, here's one.
Oh, crap. Oh, no pun intended.
I went to see one of my many specialist physicians this week because I'm old, ailing, ill, and fading fast.
Okay.
And doctor liked her very much. She's an older doctor, 60-ish, 62-ish. She said she was retiring.
Cool.
Told me she was retiring right at the end of the visit and gave me a hug.
Oh, that was nice.
I thought that was odd.
Why is that odd? I can tell you as someone in the medical profession, we get attached to people.
Uh-huh.
We do. I mean, even though you're as cuddly as a cactus,
yeah,
we kind of get attached to people.
Helen, this maybe is a great way to illustrate the torment inside my head. I can't see you. Now I can. I thought it was a nice, sweet thing. I did. And I appreciated it. But I don't like being touched.
Well, would you prefer that she be hyperclinical and, I'm retiring, goodbye.
I love this doctor.
Peace and hair grease.
No, she was great. And it was a sweet gesture. I'm just incapable, Helen, of human sincerity and interaction.
Don't I know it?
Don't
I know it? Ask the wife of an emotional cripple.
I can't live like other people with their hugs and their happiness and their well wishes, Helen.
As evidenced by the fact that when I come in or am going to leave and I try to kiss you and you give me crap about rituals and hugs and everything else.
Here's the torture of it, Helen. If
I don't give you a hug or a kiss or something, then you get mad.
You see, it would be one thing if I was just 100% through and through. I found it revolting if I just said, "Don't hug me, don't touch me." But you see, Helen, I have two sides. There's the side of me that on some level understands what a lovely thing. But then there's the other level that just says I cannot connect with you as a human being.
I just think that you choose not to.
Well, Helen, I mean, that's really what's at the heart of this podcast, isn't it?
The dichotomy of your pain and anger.
You think I choose not to.
Yeah.
But to say that I choose not to implies that I could have in that situation, or when you walk up to me for the 12th or 13th time in an hour and ask to give me a hello or goodbye or
You're so full of baloney.
Kiss.
You are so full of it.
It implies that I could somehow let my guard down and say, what a wonderful idea.
And let me tell you something. I should go on strike and not do those things. I should not kiss you. I should not hug you. And then I'll tell you how quickly you'll come to me like a little animal with his tail between his legs, talking about how much I'm not giving you attention.
But Helen, I'll come to you, though, as an emotional invalid.
The thing of it is you want the attention. You don't want to act like you want the attention, but you want it.
I wouldn't even know how to ask properly for the attention.
You do. You do all sorts of like 12-year-old teenage boy things, like make fun of me.
That's my point. That's my point. That's not how to do it.
No, it's not.
That I see. I'm tormented.
Do you know why you've made the therapist very rich? This exact reason.
This is it. This is it. I don't. I want the human interaction, but I cannot stand the thought of it.
I don't even
This
know
is
what
good
to tell
stuff
you.
here, Helen. We took a doctor visit, and we've turned it into an examination of my essence.
Yeah.
Which
you love talking about yourself, so this is great.
I love talking about my torment.
Uh-huh.
And if anyone out there understands what I am or what I should be diagnosed as, are you writing a note down over there?
No, I'm stretching my back.
Send me a diagnostic email to painangercomedy@gmail.com and try to explain to me what the hell is wrong with me.
Honey, there ain't enough time in the world to go over that.
My emotional arms are alligator arms.
You're a dinosaur. You're an emotional freaking reptile.
I can't relate. But anyway, that was a very nice thing for this doctor to do. And I love her to death, and I will miss her. I just don't know the proper way to express that to her.
How about, thank you for all of that you've done for me. I appreciate it.
So, one more doctor item.
Oh, gosh.
I went to another one of my many specialists because
Can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, our lives are riddled with copays.
Ailing. I'm ailing and fading. Mm-hmm. I'm failing. Why? Why do I have to fill out my name and address every frickin' time I go to the same place? Why? Why do I have to update it? A lot of them
now are not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, the ones I got, they love doing it.
Well, I think they see you coming.
And it pisses me off.
Well, a lot of things piss you off in this world. Sorry if people breathing pisses you off,
What's
but
changed?
That pisses you off.
I mean, what's changed since I was here 2 months ago? Like, what? My name is still the same.
People change insurances. People move.
All right. Okay, I got the insurance one covered. I knew you were coming with that. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me if my goddamn insurance has changed, and I'll tell you. I'll pull out my card. You can put it through the little scanner thing. Why do I have to?
You know, there's some sort of regulations. I think that they actually have to get paperwork that's rewritten each time you go.
Name, address. You know my name. You know my address. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Grumpy McGrumpster Pants at 3 Grump Lane.
Or how about this? How about online in advance or something? You know, say update your profile. I mean, we live in an age of technology.
How many people would actually do that?
I don't know. I would do it.
Millennials wouldn't do it.
If it would mean less human interaction, I would do it.
Why don't you live in a bubble?
Speaking of bubbles, Helen, this thought has been on my mind for some time, and
that was a great segue.
Yes, well, that remains to be seen. This has been on my mind for some time, and I was going to ask you about it, and I figured why not ask you about it on the air? You know what I hate, Helen, at wedding receptions?
What is that?
The electric slide, Helen.
The electric slide, the chicken dance, the Macarena.
All right. Here's... Well, first of all, let's stick with the electric slide because the chicken dance is even more foolish. But, well, they're the same, actually, in this respect.
They're on the same level of
Where did these songs first come from? Where did they originate? And why now must they be played at weddings?
I think they're sort of a group effort dances. So you get a bunch of people on the dance floor.
Yeah, you do. And you know what? And you know what you get? You get everybody there sort of saying, hey, look at how much fun I'm having. This is great. I'd rather put razor blades in my eyeballs.
Honey, let me just explain something to the listening audience.
Yeah,
and
go
that
ahead.
is that you would rather put razor blades in your eyeballs for just about anything.
Let me tell you something. Anybody who's ever been married knows that there's no place for fun at a wedding reception. It is the beginning of the end of many things for people.
Is that so?
Happiness,
while I'm staring at you.
Joy, freedom.
Is that so?
Freedom.
Listen, when it comes to being free, you're probably one of the freest husbands I've ever met.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but let me just say.
No, you are complaining. That's what the problem is.
Well, I guess complaining for me is like second nature. But
it's breathing.
I'm not complaining excessively. You know, most people don't want to be at a wedding reception.
Most people would prefer to be at a wedding reception than actually be at the ceremony.
You see,
I didn't know that it was possible to go just to the reception.
Am I wrong about that?
What? Yeah, I think you are.
Am I not like other people? Am I different?
You're an emotional oddity.
Okay, so most people do like to be at a wedding reception.
Yeah.
When I'm at a wedding reception...
I don't like to be at wedding receptions for people I don't really know that well.
Oh, sure, obviously.
But if it's like friends and stuff, it's fun.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe I can just relax. Now, I will say this, Helen. Let me say this about that. You took me to a wedding reception very early on in our love, in the life of our love.
Okay.
And I wasn't looking forward to it, but I had a great time.
That's Amy Patchouli. Amy listens sometimes. So Amy and Frank, that's who we went to go see.
There is a wedding reception, Amy and Frank, if you're listening. I had a ball at. Mm-hmm. It was just a great time.
Yeah, we had a fun time because a lot of my friends from back home were there. And, you got to meet Amy and you got to meet Carrie Burke and, just a lot of people. My friends are fun. I think you've been to some stodgy wedding receptions.
Your friends are a good group. There's no question.
They're a lot of fun.
So anyway, I guess I've disproved my own theory there. But
exactly.
Or that's the exception that proves the rule.
No, I think it was a great wedding reception.
That was a good wedding reception. That was a fun time.
But, our wedding reception was pretty banging too.
Yeah, but when it comes to your own, it seemed to me like that went 15 minutes.
It did feel like it went 15 minutes, but it was a good time. Everyone we've talked to says it was a blur. A blast. It was a great time.
Helen, what do you got over there commercial-wise? What do you got?
I got some stamps.com.
All right. Boo-boos.
Yes.
Talk to the people about stamps.com.
Well, stamps.com is one that's close to my heart because I love sending things in the mail. You can maximize every minute and every dollar for your small business or for your personal mailing needs. I know an easy way to do that, and that is with stamps.com. Think about how much time you've wasted going back and forth to the post office or to the UPS store or whatever. Driving there, parking. Stamps.com eliminates all of that. You don't need to go because you're already there. It's in your home. Use your own computer and your own printer to get official U.S. postage stamps for any letter or any package, and then just have the mailman come pick it up. You can even customize your stamps with cute little pictures and animals and whatever. They're gorgeous. With Stamps.com, everything you can do at the post office, you can do at your desk. And at a fraction of the price. Especially if you're CJ Haddock and you complain about time being money and personal interaction with other people.
Amen.
This is priceless. I use Stamps.com, so sign up for Stamps.com and get a special introductory deal on postage, supplies, everything you could possibly need. You can also sign up for a special 4-week trial, and that should get you a free digital scale. Don't wait. Time is a-wasting. Go to Stamps.com and save yourself time and money.
That was beautiful. It was very moving. Stamps.com. Okay, the final segment in the first studio of the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast is directly ahead. So get out your recorders. And if you don't want to use a stamp, send email to us at painangercomedy@gmail.com. The final segment coming up. Oh, honey. What a wonderful read that was.
Thank you. I tried.
All right, honey. The Greek segment is straight ahead. I know you love it.
Gosh.
I know you're proud of your heritage, and I saw your heritage in full force yesterday when you were screaming into my face about Tupperware. That was a very Greek moment. Man, were you
Greek
mad.
women are fire and lava.
And the storm, yeah, they do. I see mostly the anger part of that, but the storm off, too, is a very big one with you Greeks. You like to make a declaration and then stomp away.
Well, for me, it's mostly that I'm so angry at that point that when I reach that point and I have to walk away, it's sparing your life.
Oh, okay. Well, then I appreciate you walking away.
It is a life-sparing moment for you.
Well, the Greek segment is just straight ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and I've got a couple of surprises this week for show producer H2 Helen Haddock. But first, a couple of news items this week. A bear with a sweet tooth ripped off a bumper of a car in Colorado when he tried to claw his way through the trunk to get inside.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
How do you explain that to insurance companies? Is that an act of God?
I don't know, but the lady said the car just constantly smells like a rolling bakery.
Nice.
It's like Winnie the Pooh with honey, she said. After ripping off the bumper, the bear made a valiant attempt at clawing away at the insulation in the trunk to get to the sweet treats inside, according to the Associated Press.
That would have been me in a pantry when I was PMSing.
Yeah,
Every woman can relate to that.
If I was a bear, I think a donut would be worth ripping off a bumper. And
what does he care?
Bears love that shit. They do. They love all that garbage. That's from years of raiding campsites, I guess. Anyway, nobody was hurt. The car was hurt. I saw pictures of it online. Doesn't look very good. Helen, next time you're driving,
yes,
please pay attention, because when police pulled over a Tennessee couple and told them a body was laying on the trunk of their car, they thought it was a joke at first until they get out to look. According to the Associated Press, they found an unconscious man who had somehow remained on the trunk for 14 miles.
What?
Yep. Driver Carl Webb told reporters he had left the Memphis in May barbecue festival before the officer pulled him over last Thursday evening.
Oh.
The Memphis police say that Officer Benjamin Huff noticed what appeared to be a man
Oh my God.
on the black Ford Taurus traveling, listen to this, Helen, 65 miles an hour down an expressway, and he pulled the car over.
Was he holding on to anything? I mean, I'd really just like to know.
After alerting the couple, he woke the man, who was disoriented and did not remember leaving the festival.
You bet.
No charges were filed. Police did not explain how the man remained unconscious on the trunk, but credited the officer with saving his life. Apparently, this trunk had kind of a lip on it, which
saved him?
Which kept him on the car, I guess.
Now, either he got blasted at that festival or he ate a lot of barbecue and he was in a food coma.
Maybe. I think maybe he had too much Jack Daniels, but that's just an assumption on my part. But that's an Associated Press article. Finally, Helen, the problem with this country is that we don't sufficiently reward ingenuity and get up and go. And
Millennial.
Right. A 22-year-old student is accused of sneaking into a building and illegally logging onto a Florida university's grading system to change his failing grade to a B.
I hate to tell you, but Jerry did the same thing. My older brother did the same thing.
Ingenious. Now, if the kid was smart enough to log on to the university's grading system, he ought to be allowed to change his grade.
Well, Jerry did it back in the days when, we didn't have all this hyper vigilant security and things like that. We're talking like 20 years ago. But yeah, he did the same thing.
So anyway, this University of Central Florida professor, Chung Young Chan, became suspicious when he got a confirmation from a program he uses to log grades on May 4th. He checked the grades and saw that the student suddenly had a B instead of an F.
Wow. He was aiming high. At least go for a C.
Yep, give himself a B instead of an F. But he had failed what was, I think, Electronics 1. It was Electronics 1 class. But if a guy knows enough about electronics to log on to a university's grading system on the computers, he ought to get credit for the grade, I think.
Wow.
I think that ought to supersede the final.
Maybe.
What's the worst grade you've ever gotten, Helen?
A C.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I got a D. I got 2 Ds in my life. One in high school in calculus, and one in college in accounting.
Wow.
Numbers have been my undoing, Helen. I'm a word guy.
Mm-hmm.
Verbalist. I paint word pictures.
You talk somebody's face off.
You know, Helen, I think you're a fantastic parent.
Oh, boy.
By the by.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
And you are very conscientious about keeping after young Al with respect to his assignments.
It feels like I'm going to high school again.
But this is a millennial moment because it does. And this is what I'm going to ask you. Who's really going to high school if you're doing that?
The thing is I'm not actually doing the assignments. I'm just riding his tail so that he will make sure he gets them done.
That's why I say you're a good parent, but it is exhausting. And did anybody have to hover over you when you were a kid going to high school, Helen?
No, because my parents put the fear of God in me.
Yeah, it never even, I'm not bragging.
It was a different time.
Because I am a defective human being, as we have seen in many ways, but my parents never had to once ask me to do my homework because I am so insane that if I didn't do the homework, it would bother me.
I think the difference between you and I in terms of parenting is that I stick with it. Like, I will continue.
Yeah, okay, that's not going to make... I think the difference between parenting between you and I is that I'm good and you suck.
I did not say that. I did not say that. I said that I am tenacious.
Right.
As has been evidenced by a lot of people. A lot of people have verbalized that I'm tenacious.
And you're spineless, CJ. Go ahead.
And you get so angry at them, you want to kill them, and you're just like, all right, whatever happens to you.
You have rage and anger issues, CJ? Go
yes. Ahead. Well, I mean, we did spend 3/4 of the podcast talking about me flipping out. So.
Who flipping out? You?
Me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
Anyway, you were talking about what a horrible parent I was. Go ahead.
You're such a butthead.
Go ahead, proceed.
Idiot. So, I tend to be pretty tenacious and I will follow through and make sure that things get done. And it drives me crazy if I don't, because I can't help it. In some ways, it's my type A-ness kind of overruling, letting a kid do what he needs to do. So, if I know you have to get a project done, that's like today. Alex asked me if he could go to his friend's house. And I said, no, you have a project that's due tomorrow.
Damn. So. In some ways, I feel like it's like the last game in Shea Stadium or something. Here, as we go to the final item of the final segment of the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast in the first studios it ever occupied. And certainly looking forward to the new studios once we get that done. But, suddenly, Helen, a wave of sadness has come over me. I'm sad, though, that this will be the last broadcast in this room.
Well, new beginnings.
It's very emotional. Anyway, Helen.
Yeah, for the emotional
You
cripple.
were at a funeral earlier this week for a friend's parent.
Yes.
And you texted me the following.
Oh, God.
I'm coming home from the funeral, but I can't come straight home. I have to stop somewhere else. What the hell are you talking about, Helen?
I think it's more than a Greek thing. I think it's, a lot of people think this, that if you go directly home from a funeral, that you kind of sort of bring death home with you. So you have to stop somewhere else and then.
Let me tell you, nobody except the Greeks think that.
Whatever. You're so full of baloney. There's so many traditions that are different and you don't know about because
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
You don't pay attention to anything.
I've never heard anybody say that you can't go home. If you come home after a funeral, it just means that you have something to do after the funeral, doesn't it?
No.
Okay.
You got to do these things.
Well, Helen, I did some research this week, and I looked up Greek traditions.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here's one. When you move to a new house, you are to get a goat from the neighbor and kiss that goat on the lips 3 times in the front yard, 3 times in the backyard. That, according to Greek tradition, brings luck and success. You're so full of
it right now.
I'm sorry, Helen. That's tradition.
No, I'm tired of this goat business.
Do you know
potato
what else?
Potato picker.
Here's another one. Did you just call me a potato picker?
Potato picker.
I'm not Irish.
Yeah, well, you're Polish. Same difference.
They make good vodka. If you want to encourage fertility, you're supposed to, let's say you want your daughter to have grandchildren. You're supposed to walk your daughter around the water well in the middle of town with 3 other of the fairest maidens from that particular Greek city.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah. water
Because
is fertility.
The water's fertility, and then also the well is almost like it's unending sometimes.
You know what's funny, Helen? I just made that up off the top of my head.
It's actually true.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just made
not
that
with
up.
the maidens part. I'd never heard that part, but I've heard the walking around the water well 3
No
times.
kidding. Well, okay, just made that up. Anyway.
There's a lot of them. Like if you, on New Year's Day, if you walk into a Greek household, you're supposed to, the very first person that walks in is supposed to walk in with the right foot first and throw silver coins.
This is good. This is the kind of insanity I want to educate our audience about. Keep going. Go ahead. What about, what the hell else you got about leaving drawers open?
You can't do it at night. You can't leave a drawer open or you can't leave a closet open because it brings, for some reason, it's like leaving a subject open or an argument going. It'll bring bad vibes for the next day.
All right, Helen. CJ Haddock is about to speak some Greek.
Oh, boy.
It has been away for a while, but it is back. Can you... What's the name of it again?
Can you understand CJ's Greek?
Can you understand CJ's Greek? Thanks very much, Helen. Here it is. Can you understand CJ's Greek? And today we're going to talk about the subject of moving from houses. All right, so I'm going to read to you a couple of Greek phrases.
Wait, I got to write these things down because I only catch a word here and there.
Okay, so these are things you actually hear on the Isle, on the Greek Isles, Lesbos, Crete.
I'm so tired of you saying that.
They're the only two islands I know from Greece, or Patagonia or
Patagonia is not in Greece.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No.
What else? The Isle of Man. What about the Isle of Malta?
No.
Okay.
Man, you're a geography zero.
Well, I don't know the names of the islands, but these are things you would hear both on... Is there a mainland? I guess there's a mainland in Greece.
Right.
Athens.
Yes.
Troy. Sparta.
No. Sparta, okay. Yes.
Okay. All right, Hon, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. First one.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you sure you're ready?
Oh, listen, this is redonkulous.
Are you ready? We got to move you over a little bit for the next show because I can only see half your face.
Right.
Okay. Me synchroeti kalos gaitonas porona dinisto tu iperoko kalathi sasmi vodi giana metafero merikes apo tis megali teres kores mu sto neo mas spiti.
You said, I'm sorry, dear neighbor, but I'd like to borrow your basket so that I can bring some of my nicest daughters to my new home.
That's pretty good.
There's my dinger.
I'm going to give you credit, give you the dinger there. Going to give you credit for that one. Literally, it is, pardon me, good neighbor, may I borrow your lovely ox cart to transport several of my larger daughters to our new home?
Wow.
You missed the part about the ox, Helen.
Yeah.
See, the ox cart.
Yeah, well, not funny.
All right. Okay, you ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Geia sas o nios mu gaitonas mu poses drachmes ta me creoste gia na epitrepso tis pazides mu na voskun stopiso meros tis avlis sas.
Hello, new neighbor. How many drachmas are you going to charge me to let my goats eat in the back of your yard? I'm not finding this at all funny. You in this goat business, I'm gonna hurt you.
Oh, that was great. You 2 for 2. Hello, my kindly neighbor. How many drachma will you charge me to allow my goats to graze in the rear end of your yard? Mm-hmm. That's what I was going for there. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for question number 3? Things that you will literally actually hear on people who are moving in Greece. Mm-hmm. All right. I elektryki energia se afti ti gaitonia letoregi se perierges imeres I akoma kai imeres boreti namu peite.
Does the electric service in this area work on certain days and not work on certain days? My face should tell you everything.
I love you, baby.
No, you don't.
Does the electrical power in this neighborhood operate on odd days or even days? Can you tell me? Mm-hmm. You see, because I sort of envision on Greece with all the goats and what have you, I'm not sure whether or not electricity has come completely to the country. Has it?
You're an idiot.
All right, Helen. Here's a bonus one. I love you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I love my Greek goddess.
No, you don't.
The fourth and final question. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Dedomenu oti molis ta same den ta ipareche chronos kiani ti exte tiri galactos katsikas tai prepe na promethesofumi medicos apo enan topiki listi. Topico listi.
Wow, you butchered the shit
I'm
out
sorry.
of that.
I'm sorry, honey.
Something about there's not going to be enough time to make goat cheese, so you might have to buy it.
This is my favorite segment of all time. You, my dear, were 4 for 4 this week. Through some very bad Greek.
All of the tears and anguish I went through
4
with my parents.
For 4.
I guess this is the culmination. Mom and Dad, if you're listening in heaven,
Damn.
guess what? It worked.
You nailed it. The last sentence was, since we have just arrived, there will be no time to make goat's milk cheese. We shall have to procure some from a local herdsman.
Yes.
Now, these are actual things, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear throughout the nation of Greece as people move about.
You know,
yes, Helen?
elder abuse is frowned upon. But I'm about to whoop your butt.
Oh, Helen, God love you. Thanks so much for playing. Can you understand CJ's Greek this week, Helen?
Wow.
Honey, that was outstanding.
Yeah, I'm
That
glad
was
you're
outstanding.
amused.
Anybody have any suggestions for Can You Understand CJ's Greek? You can send sentences, which I will translate. If you have any sentences you'd like us to use on this segment, painangercomedy@gmail.com.
Είσαι βόδι. How's that? Είσαι βόδι.
I say I don't know what that means.
Είσαι τούβλο.
I have to assume it's dirty.
It's not dirty.
Oh, what does it mean? You're sexy? You're a sexy man? How do you say, I love the sexy Polish man in Greek?
Έλα εδώ, να σε πλακώσω στις φάπες.
Oh, okay. So that's what you need. You need to say that. I love the sexy Polish man.
No, it just means come over here and let me beat your butt.
Oh, I actually wanted the honest translation, Helen.
That's too bad.
Come on, give it to me.
No.
Last one for the studio. Come on. I love the sexy Polish man. Go ahead.
Αγαπώ το βόδι μου.
That's it?
Yeah. I love my...
Polish.
No. It means I love my mule.
You're calling me an ass. Could you please translate the sentence for me? I love the Polish man.
Αγαπώ τον Πολωνό μου.
All right. Thank you very much, Helen.
Yeah, whatever.
That was beautiful.
Whatever.
Well, Helen, this is episode 35. 35. Can you believe we've had 35 episodes here?
Crazy.
So, Helen, as we wrap up, any final thoughts on the first 35 episodes here in the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast, which, by the way, has been ongoing now since the fall of 2016? What do you think, Helen?
It's a fun time. Hopefully people enjoy what we do and what we put out there.
Anyway, people, fans, thank you so much for the first 35 episodes. Hope there's something here that you find enjoyable. We will be away from the microphones next week because the microphones will be packed in crates and be transported to another location. But I promise you, within 10 to 12 to 13 days, there will be another episode up for you to enjoy. Let me say thanks again to H2 show producer Helen Haddock for spending the time here in the studio on a busy weekend where we've got to go buy some stuff, buy boxes, and all that happy horse crap. So thank you, honey. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Send us a note to painangercomedy@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us or download episodes on iTunes. It's the Pain and Anger Comedy Podcast. We're available on SoundCloud and Twitter, and also YouTube. Just type in keyword Pain Anger Comedy, single word. You can also get episodes directly from our website, painangercomedy.wordpress.com. Thank you for another week of fun and games. We will see you very soon.
Thanks for spending your time with us.
There was something else I wanted to say, Helen, but I forgot.
Like old man himself, you forgot again.
All right, everybody. Time to put this bad boy in a box. Stay angry.
Stay funny.
We'll talk to you very soon. Thanks, guys.
Let's go, Pens!
Subscribe. Did I say subscribe already?
You did say subscribe
That's
already.
how goddamn tired I am right now. Look,
Dang.
ass. I've been packing. The older you get, the more books you accumulate, and the less able you are able.
Man, can we try this again?
And you know what else? I lost it again.
I need to get you some of those memory pills.
I got it. Can we move the frick on?
I'm tired of your grumpiness. But you just get jealous because my fucking penguins are rocking.
Okay.
You can beat me out, and that can go in the gag reel.
Man alive, you're really off on a Oops. You took me to a wedding reception very early on in our love making. No, you took me. Driver Carl Webb told reporters that he left Memphis in May. He left the Memphis. Driver
check 1 2 check.
Driver Carl Webb told reporters he had left the Memphis in May barbecue festival.
Memphis in Bay barbecue?
A 22-year-old student is accused of sneaking into a building in a college and illegally logging onto a Florida. Strike that. Just read the headline. Stop yawning, Helen.
I'm sorry, I'm tired. You're so full of shit.
I can't put that. I can't. That's pretty good. I don't know whether
Where's my dinger?
I'll give you a dinger in a minute.